Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day today. We're at the Tricky Triangle from Pocono, fresh off of an incredible final lap and final 11 laps at Kansas Speedway that saw Ross Chastain putting himself in the playoffs as Kyle Larson now has a 66-point advantage in the regular season over myself. Big news this weekend, Denny Hamlin behind the wheel of the number 45 in substitute of an injured and sidelined Tyler Reddick, who's going to be missing 3 to 5 weeks of racing here, and that puts really an end to his playoff hopes unless he can find a way to win a race, which he hasn't done in over a season. Drivers that have been strong, Kyle Larson's been incredible. We got a new scheme here with Top Golf, but Sonic the Hedgehog livery on the car for this weekend as we come through into on-track racing at Pocono. So we had the big news of Tyler Reddick, but we also had news on my end. Actually, it was an offer on the table for myself from Joe Gibbs Racing have come to the table with a contract offer for next season. Joe Gibbs has only offered us a 1-season extension at $2.5 million. And that's pretty low compared to what we've been offered from RFK as well as Junior Motorsports. The difference is we're being offered a ride for another season at one of the top teams in the sport, where RFK is still a team that's trying to prove that they're a top team. JRM is still, of course, in their first season of racing. We've got some thinking to do over the next handful of episodes, but the offers are on the table from 3 teams as we are in a contract season. It's round 2 of the bracket tournament presented by Busch Light. You can see these are the pairings that succeeded in green, the drivers that move on into round 2. Today we'll be looking at the updated the bracket here going into the pre-race. Nonetheless, pretty interested to see where we're going to stack up here in terms of pace in Pocono. Didn't quite know what to expect even after the laps that we had run in practice. Now as we come through into qualifying now, and the goal is a 54.925 as we dive down into turn 1, actually missing the bottom lane there, which you don't want to do here in turn 1 at Pocono. So that already put us a little bit behind in terms of the success of our lap. Now cutting down to the grass through the tunnel turn is exactly what you want to do here, and then roll through 3 and 4 the best you can. Get it up towards that inside, almost curbing that yellow line. Hard on the throttle mid-corner. Hope that the car turns on the exit down the front straightaway to the line. What is it going to be? We cross the stripe well ahead of the goal with a 53.826, putting us row 5. P10 for the Gander Outdoors 400 here from the Tricky Triangle at Pocono. Kyle Larson and Joey Logano, your front row. Logano has been finding some speed lately. Can he turn that into a successful weekend here in Pocono, as he is outside of the playoffs needing a win, but he is still within, distance of pointing his way in, so it's not desperation yet for the driver of Logano, who is in his expected to be final season of Cup Series competition. We had Truck Series as well as Xfinity in Pocono this weekend as well. We saw on the Truck Series side of things, Riley Herbst actually holding off the Australian of Cam Waters for the victory. Colby Howard, Cruz, and Gio Ruggiero, a couple rookies there in the top 5. Marco Andretti and Frankie Muniz inside the top 10 as well, as you'll see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. Xfinity Series as well in Pocono. Harrison Burton for Penske. They've had a rough season, but Burton gets a win in Pocono, puts himself in the playoffs, holding off Gray, Perez, Truex, and Creed, all inside the top 5. And you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. Suarez with another rough day for Trackhouse Racing, as we are now ready to go Cup Series racing Sunday afternoon in Pocono.
Round 2 of the Busch Light Bracket Challenge takes place in Pocono today with just 8 races left in the regular season. Could we see a heavyweight driver knocked out of the bracket today, Steve?
This is the #1 track where you can take advantage of strategy. I guarantee someone will get knocked out that we think could win it all.
Ready to go racing here from Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle. Connor Zilish really slow looking this weekend. He starts at the back of the grid. Byron as well had a poor practice session and a poor qualifying effort. And Austin Cindric in the final season, of course, for Meyer Shank Racing, he starts at the back. Cindric still looking to secure a ride for next season as we continue to watch silly season mess around and about. We're racing from Pocono, the tricky triangle. Larson Logano lead the way into turn number 1 as we'll of course take a look at the bracket tournament. It's up in the top right of your screen, and Larson's going against Logano. I'm going against Bubba Wallace. Elliott Versosavar Chastain goes up against his teammate of SVG. You see the rest of the pairings on the screen there now as we're taken 3 wide immediately by Ryan and Blaney, and I believe that was Eric Jones in the 34 as well. Got the elbows out going after it. Jones been hovering around 20th in the points for the majority of this season for Front Row Motorsports. His teammate of Zane Smith not far off of him as well as we roll through the tunnel turn into the back of the 34 who slides up the track. That messes up my corner. Here comes the 45 of not Tyler Reddick, who's out with concussion-like symptoms, I should have mentioned. It's actually going to be Hamlin in the number 45 up the inside as we roll through turn 3. What turn 4? They say, well, it's a 6-turn racetrack in Pocono. We'll die on the hill that it's a 3-turn racetrack. Nonetheless, the 45 of Denny Hamlin working his way forward. He is expected to be behind the wheel of this 45 of his own 45. Of course, he owns this car, but he's expected to be behind the wheel of that car for the whole time that Reddick is out of the car. So we'll see what Denny Hamlin can do. Of course, he's done a few races this season behind the wheel of one of his own cars already, the 67, the part-time car, where we see others like Truex and Kamui Kobayashi as well behind the wheel at times. So it's going to be exciting to see what Hamlin can do because, of course, it's not really been a whole lot of out of the car for Hamlin. Last season was his last full-time season. He won a race at Darlington but missed the playoffs after we had so many different winners. Looking like we're not going to see the same amount of different winners in the regular season this time around, as we've got some more dominant forces behind the wheel of their cars this season, especially Kyle Larson, but we're really seeing Chase Elliott kind of come into his own now, Ryan Blaney as well. We are starting to find a bit more pace. I honestly think we are getting closer and closer to seeing the likes of Christopher Bell and our other teammate of Ty Gibbs find wins as well. Gibbs, a defending champion, has not been able to find victory lane. Christopher Bell hasn't been able to either. It's been a difficult season for Toyota teams in this transition into the new Toyota body now, as we still found 2 wins for Toyota, but that's it now as we come to lap 4 of 9 already, following Kyle Busch for Trackhouse. And we talk about, you know, Toyota going to a new body. I mean, Honda comes into the sport for the first full-time season, and it's been quite successful, at least on the Trackhouse side. They're with Trackhouse and the Andretti Global team. Andretti hasn't seemed to get any better, but Trackhouse has now got 3 wins. 2 with Kyle Busch early in the season, 1 last episode with Ross Chastain. We still need to wait for Shane Van Gisbergen, and when's he going to pop off? He's in the bubble in the playoff picture at the moment. It's been an interesting season, ups and downs for the New Zealand driver. We'll see what he can do as we clear Kyle Busch for P9. We'll try to drive away now and run down 8th place, which belongs to Chris Buescher for RFK. Of course, we got an offer from Keselowski recently, so 3 offers on the table from JRM, RFK, as well as our current team, Joe Gibbs Racing, which has offered the least amount of years and only $2.5 million for that 1 season as well. Meanwhile, JRM and RFK have promised us similar things, but JRM kind of added on, hey, we will work with you to work or create your own Xfinity team. We won't give you our team like RFK is willing to do in the Xfinity series, and they're also willing, though, to put us into the Indy 500. That's something I want to be able to do, is get into the Indy 500. We did the Rolex 24 earlier this season with the Toyota project of the Toyota version of the Garage 56 that Chevrolet did with Camaro and Hendrick Motorsports now as we come to 2 laps to go in stage at number 1, and it's pure dominance from Kyle Larson. I honestly, we put so much focus into this regular season battle, but Kyle Larson has just got too much for us now. Sammy Smith hard and packed on the outside, wall blown tire, Briscoe involved. Caution is out here from Pocono. That's going to end stage 1 a lap and a half early. Kyle Larson wins the opening stage. It's been a dominant drive from him over the course of the last 5 races, and he continues today as Hamlin worked his way up to P6 as we're making some adjustments in the pit lane here, looking for a bit more pace now as the car was starting to free up quite a bit as laps were going on. on, so that was something I was trying to reverse, and we're tightening up the car. The driver going head-to-head against in the bracket tournament, Bubba Wallace, is going to be starting alongside myself. Larson versus Logano. They seem to be the class of the field so far today, and they are going head-to-head in this bracket tournament. Who's going to come out on top of that? Logano looks like he's got some fighting speed, but we've seen quite a few times this season when Logano does have a fast car, something seems to go wrong, and he basically finishes 10 spots worse than what he should have. Ty Gibbs, defending champion, 3 wide to the inside. There's that Ty Gibbs aggression we know, and he goes to the lead of this race here. 21 laps in stage number 2. A lot of racing. Pit stops will be mandatory. Unlike stage 1, we were able to go from start to finish without having to worry about any form of pitting, as we're behind Christopher Bell and that Yahoo purple Toyota Camry as well. Denny Hamlin falling back a little bit. He's behind the 9 of Chase Elliott. 2 wins on the season for that Napa Auto Parts number 9 Chevrolet. As we dive down into turn 3, look who's working his way up into the mix there in my rear view mirror. You got the 2 of Todd Gilliland. It's been a very difficult season for him at Penske Racing now. As Penske as a whole, it's been pretty difficult for, except for Blaney, of course, who's in the top 5 in the regular season, has got the win at Road America. He's been very strong. Blaney, of course, been the face of that team for a while now, as we come through to start the second lap, and Hamlin now to the inside of Chase Elliott. You got up in front of him, of course, Bell now on the inside of last episode winner of Ross Chastain, as I'll make it 3 wide on the exit of turn 1. We take the run, the momentum. Can we make it happen? I don't want to be 3 wide entering the tunnel turn. That's a really awkward sequence to go 3 wide in here, but we stick it in there anyways. It's early in the race. Let's try to learn about our car. Doesn't work. We come back out of the corner behind the 45, and we would have to stay behind them coming to lap number 3 using the draft. You see how strong that slipstream is. Again to the inside, but I'm not going to force it 3 wide this time into turn 1. Gibbs still leads over Larson as well as Logano. Cautions out, and it's for Connor Zilish, actually, who had a mechanical failure at the back of the grid, just an engine failure. So Zilish's day is over. One of the Rookie of the Year contenders, the highest performing rookie so far this season. Maybe a bit surprising, he went through his Xfinity season with Trackhouse winless. Meanwhile, a guy like Sawalich won 8 races. Jesse Love won the Xfinity Championship. It's not been a pretty season for him at RCR. We keep hearing that RCR is expected to find some improvements in the mid part of the season. We're in the mid part of the season now. It's got to be coming soon, you would expect. We're back underway, and that 45 of Hamlin's not going. We actually tagged the back of him, and that slows myself down. We're going to lose a ton of momentum, and we might lose a bit of track position on the run into turn 1. Gilliland goes through. Here goes Hocevar as well. JRM having a solid run with one of their cars in the number 8. Gregson in the 88 a little bit further back now as we roll through turn 1. Here comes William Byron, and now Bubba Wallace as well up the inside. Caruth just behind, side by side with the 17 of Chris Buescher. We're on the back of the 24 with the slipstream. We'll pull out to the left. Now get side by side with that Raptor Chevrolet on the run into the tunnel turn. It's still Gibbs leading over Logano. Larson's dropped now to P3, but Logano is maintaining track position. I think that's the critical point for Logano today. Is we mentioned when he has a quick car, things seem to go wrong. He finishes about 10 spots worse than where he was running. It's critical for him to maintain that track position and keep himself in the mix here late in this race, but we got a lot of racing to go still now as Hocevar clears us for that 9th position on the exit of turn number 3. 15 to go. Nobody pitted under that last caution because we could not make it to the end from there for stage 2, so everyone stays out, and we will be having to make a pit stop still now up the inside of the number 8 of Hocevar as we head down into the tunnel turn, get it down to the grass, try to throttle up early, couldn't quite make it happen. Hocevar would maintain on my outside all the way down in the run to turn number 3, and as we exit turn 3, he's got the run there, and he's going to get back ahead of us now as we try to side draft and pull him back, but here comes Chris Buescher in the mirror. He makes it 3 wide now, the number 17 for RFK, the only winless driver at that team this season. Honestly, the driver I expect to be the first one that wins with that team. He's the only winless one, and now in that bubble situation in the playoffs, he gets past both myself and Hocevar. We lean on the number 8 there, who could be a future teammate of ours going into the future of this career mode now, as eventually through the tunnel turn we clear Hocevar and get back up to the 17 again, but instead of making a move, I decided to push him and see if we can get up closer to the 20 of Bell, and that's exactly what would happen. We would both run down Christopher Bell coming through to start lap 10. Gibbs still leads, but Larson is in third just behind Logano, who is all over the back of the 54 now. Busher not making it easy. We're going to fight door to door, wheel to wheel, and he would actually clear us on the exit of turn 3 as we were now looking for pit stop strategies. I was struggling to find track position, so we want to do something a little bit different. Get off cycle. If you pit under green here, if you're up in the top 10, you're likely not going to lose a lap to the leaders, so you can pit a little bit earlier and not have to worry about that like we do at most tracks, as the 17 fights back to the inside as we cleared him briefly. Into the tunnel turn, we're going to lose 2 spots. The 17 gets us and the 12 gets us as well, but we are going to be coming into the pits here now on the end of about lap 12, 13. I was considering maybe and just seeing if that off strategy sequence and pitting a few laps earlier than the rest of these guys can maybe gain us 2 or 3 positions going into the end of stage 2, starting stage number 3 as we fight to the inside of the 17. James Small on the radio.
Okay, box this lap, Gary, box this lap.
You hear the radio. We'll be pitting this lap. It'll be 4 tires and fill it up on field. I couldn't quite clear the 17 no matter what, so as we exit turn 3, 17 on our outside, but we're going to pull into the pit lane here with the only driver that's going to pit, so I expect everybody else to pit in 2 to 3 laps. So we would actually tighten up the car a bit more because I was still getting pretty loose, and it's hard to pass, especially when you're loose. Honestly, it's hard to pass in general under a green flag run at Pocono, so you got to get everything you can on the restarts here. 15.2 second stop, we rejoin the action, and you can see on the track map we're comfortably ahead of the 54 of Gibbs, so we're not going to have to be in concern of losing a lap, and now we should have more pace hopefully than the leaders and everybody else, of course, that we should maybe be able to gain just a few spots. I mean, even 1 spot gain we'll consider a win for the end of stage number 2. Crossing the stripe, 46.4 seconds behind the leader of Ty Gibbs. So of course that was a number that I was paying attention to. Now if a caution comes out as well, that would not hurt us either because we would cycle through to the front, but cars are starting to peel off the track now. On the track map you can see it, drivers coming in for green flag pit stops now, and we're going to come back around the track and we gain some positions here. There's the 12 of Blaney, we pass him into turn number 1. Logano 3 seconds up the road. Gibbs as well had made his pit stop. He's still comfortably in front of us now, as you can see, passing our teammate Bell. Gilliland as well as Chastain, 3 cars right there. We do gain track position. Briscoe, the only one yet to pit. He'll probably pit this lap. Crash behind, it's just behind. Christopher Bell blows a wheel there into turn 1 after literally pitting 10 seconds ago. And that'll be the end of the day for our teammate of Bell. Briscoe will box and put tires on, and everybody else will stay on the track, and we have gained some serious position up into P6. Hamlin leads the way in his return to full-time, quote-unquote, for a few races. We're back racing. It's a 2-lap sprint in stage 2, and it's 23-11, and Joe Gibbs racing on the front row. What can Hamlin do? As Reddick, of course, hasn't been to victory lane in over a season. Hamlin gets in that 45 car, and he's already leading. As we dive down into turn 1, watch out for the 22 of Logano. He needs every point he can get. Blaney got forced 3 wide briefly there by the 24 of Byron, but Blaney backed out of it now. We're side by side with the 24 Hendrick Motorsports driver down this first back straightaway now. Elliott up the inside of Larson as we head down towards the tunnel turn, and we continue to run in P6. We cut down under that yellow line, and we'll get the run here on the exit. Look at the speed we carry. We'll take it 3 wide with the 9 and the 5 as we head down into turn 3. Hamlin still leads the way. Logano's going to clear Gibbs for second. What can he do to Denny Hamlin? We maintain 3 wide. Larson's going to get clear all the way on the outside. That 5 so strong, but he's only in P4 as we get cleared by the 9 on this final lap through the tunnel turn one more time. Larson got past Ty Gibbs, and now he's pressuring Logano as we have a run to the inside of the 9 into turn 3. Can we do anything with it? Larson looking for P2 to steal it from the 22 in the final turn. He might do it. We can't quite get past the 9. We'll have to settle for P6, but Denny Hamlin wins stage number 2. It's Larson, Logano, Gibbs, Elliott, the top 5, followed by myself in P6. Caution flies. Everybody's going to be coming into the pit lane here. We'll fill it up on fuel, 4 tires, and just slightly tighten up the car a little bit more from a 50.5 on the wedge to a 50.6 as we get ready to go back racing. It looks like Chase Briscoe is electing to stay out. Custer would end up pitting, but Briscoe remains on the racetrack He, of course, pitted under caution there, so we'll see how this works out, but he's been having a bit of a rough day. We're back underway, and the Darlington leader leads us with 21 laps to go on the run, the long run, that is, towards this first corner now. You have a lot of time to kind of make up your mind, decide what you're going to do into this first turn here in Pocono now, but everyone stays in order now. I show the nose on the 9, can't quite get there. Larson trying to show the nose on the 98, has Elliott backs out of it. We can get up the inside, 3 wide with him and Blaney. Larson splits the 98, now Hamlin to the lead again. Your stage 2 winner out in front, Logano back in 3rd, Briscoe struggling. You can just see the lack of pace in that 98 now. Gibbs will go through on the inside. Blaney's going to get trapped behind the 98. I am going to follow suit and take P5 as we clear the 98, hopefully here into turn number 3. Yes, we will. We actually kind of chopped the nose on the 98 a little bit there now as we take that 5th position. Hamlin, Larson, Logano, Gibbs, myself. Your top 5. Here comes Chase Elliott now to my inside. Can't quite make it happen right there, but we know he's pressuring us as we complete the first and opening lap of stage 3. Larson now to the inside of the 45 of Hamlin. I am struggling with the handling of this car, so tight on the exit of turn 1, and that opened up the door for the 9. Larson takes the lead from Hamlin on the run into the tunnel turn. So new leader number 5, Kyle Larson, your stage 1 winner and regular season point leader right now in the bracket tournament. He's ahead of Logano, who he needs to be beating, and we are ahead of the number 23 of Bubba Wallace as a caution is out, and it's for the 23 of Bubba Wallace. His engine, he's got smoke pouring out of the bottom of that car. Caution will fly for the 23. He will not be out of this race. He will come into the pit lane and service that vehicle and try to make a bit of a comeback, but that certainly helps our situation in advancing in the Busch Light Bracket Challenge Tournament. Larson, Hamlin, Logano, Gibbs, Elliott, myself, nobody pitted once again, just like stage 2 in early caution. We can't make it to the end if we were to pit now. We're back racing again. It's going to be 16 laps to go here from Pocono Raceway in this Gander Outdoors 400. Usually it feels like when you get to Pocono in the season, that's when the real playoff crunch seems to start hitting, and everybody understands that it's go time in the regular season. It's time to start preparing for that playoff run, and that's what we're doing now. We need to start showing up. You want to flex your strength a little bit. What can your team do? As you see in the mirror, how about Zane Smith having another solid run now? He's a candidate to be going to Penske Racing, I've been hearing, next season, as Smith has been having a very solid season behind the wheel of that number 38 as we clear Chastain, jump down to the inside, maintain P6, Larson, Logano, Hamlin, your top 3, and myself just kind of right here. I don't feel like I have a car that can go and win this race, but we're at a really awkward spot with the setup because we have to really make the car tight, which sucks on the short run because I can barely turn it, but the car definitely it handles better later in the run. Now, how about this battle right there? Gibbs up the inside of Elliott, Hamlin going backwards now as we still maintain P6, but to the outside of the number 9, looking for a top 5 running position, 2 by 2 right here for 2 rows into the tunnel turn, backing out of it, just can't maintain side by side. We entered on the outside, hit the wall on the exit of the tunnel turn, through goes Chastain. We get planted right in front of the 2 of Gilliland. Blaney will go around on the outside, and Zane Smith as well is going to join in. I'm just so tight in the early part of the run, guys. I mean, it just does not turn at all.
All good, just stick with it here. We're going to pit you early again here, so be ready.
You hear that? We are going to be pitting early again, so we drop down to P9, and not really sure what to do to the car because if we pit early, we're still going to have like a 10-11 lap run. The car is going to get quite loose, so I don't really know what to do. Logano's dropping back now. Gibbs is in 2nd. Logano's down to about 4th, fighting for 5th. So certainly not where he wants to be now, but we run P8 behind Blaney after getting back past Zane Smith, who would lose a few spots to the 2 of Gilliland. Look at the run on the back of the 12, but instead of going for a pass, we're going to try and push him up to the 1 of Chastain. Lap 45 coming to lap 56. We're boxing this lap. So we're going to have 11 laps to put on the fuel tank. We can hold about 13 laps of fuel on 3 times tire wear and fuel, which we do in this career mode, so we will have a few laps to spare. We come in early again. We will not lose a lap. We're not going to make any adjustments. We're going to hope for the best and hope that this run goes to the end. I don't really think it will, but never say never. The 4 tires go on. It's going to be a 15.7 second pit stop, about 5 seconds off of what you see in real life, but we rejoin without any issue and any sense of urgency for holding on to our lead lap running position right now. So how is this cycle going to go? If we get a caution right now, we go to the lead of this race. So I wouldn't really complain. That's really the best way to find the track position that we're looking for. This is a move for track position and track position only. The gap to Larson, 46.7 through the tunnel turn, 46.6, 46.5, 46.4 even. So he just gained a few tenths of a second. Now, crash, Vargas into the outside wall. The part-time Three Friends Racing driver hits the wall with a blown tire. The caution is out, and we are going to stay out. The 98 of Briscoe was on the pit lane at the time of the caution. He had to pit earlier after staying out at the end of stage 2, so him and I will fast forward to the front row. P1 and P2, Larson, Hamlin, and everybody on back on 4 tires and fuel. We get ready to be on the front row for racing. We should be able to clear this 98. The 98 just doesn't have it today, but it's 5 laps of racing left here from Pocono. What's going to happen? Suddenly, we're projected into the battle for the win as we head down on this long run into turn 1. Here comes Hamlin and that number 45 to follow us into the corner alongside Briscoe. Larson's 3 wide in the middle. Perfect case scenario for us. We clear the 98, and now we try to set sail, but we know this is not going to be an easy task. We don't have a race-winning car. We just have race-winning position. What can we do with it? We know this car is going to be tight. It's only a 5-lap dash. That was the negative, of course, of that caution, is 5 laps. It's not going to be enough for this car to free up to a point where I feel like I can really do what I need to do. Larson already to the inside of Hamlin, trying to get himself back out in front. It's Larson, Hamlin, Logano just behind, as they're all over us already down the front. Straight away here, it's going to be 4 laps to go. We throw a block on the number 5 of Larson. Hamlin fights back to the outside. Not going to block him as hard as the 5. Of course, Hamlin is an Alliance teammate in the 2311 Racing team. We clip the apron in turn 1. That's going to bulldoze the car up the track. Larson through to the lead, and here comes Hamlin as well to chase him in second. Logano now filling up our rear view mirror. He wants to get to victory lane in his final season of Cup Series competition. Hamlin clear into the tunnel turn, but look at the run. Larson checks up. Here's a huge run to the outside. We're not going to be able to maintain alongside, but we're going to try through turn 3 side by side with Larson. Can we hold it? No, we can't. Larson's going to go back ahead. A little bit of contact that washes us up the track, and through goes Hamlin nearly into the outside wall. Logano now would get down to our back bumper and up my inside on the run into turn number 1. We'll drop to P4 with 3 laps to go. Caution is out, and it's going to be a blown engine for Cole Custer. And there was an issue when that yellow came out. My AI tapped the back bumper of the 22. You guys know what that means in Heat 5. If your car hits another car under caution, your car is likely not going to take off. It's NASCAR overtime, but suddenly it's not looking very good for us. Behind the wheel of this number 19 Sonic the Hedgehog Top Golf collaboration as Larson, Hamlin lead the field back to green, and sure enough, the car doesn't go. We can't pull over to the left, so we're going to have to hold the whole outside line. I'm sure everybody in that outside line, especially Ross Chastain right now, absolutely despise me as we head down into turn 1. We drop down to P10. Logano 3 wide to the inside. He catches Larson off guard. Joey Logano to the lead out of Pocono. Turn 1 clear, and he's going to try and set sail. What a move from the 2018 and 2022 champion. Now right to the back of Zane Smith as we head down towards the tunnel turn. Briscoe slow in front of us. He's got no speed in that 98 Fastenal Ford Mustang at all. We try to go 3 wide on the exit of the tunnel turn with Gilliland, and Smith's going to go around the outside. Chastain trying to make up some time as well as we're going to get the 98 into turn number 3. Logano leads. Larson second. Hamlin third. Can Logano find a way to hang on? He's had speed all day long, but no one's had the speed that Kyle Larson has had. 1 lap to go from Pocono. Joey Logano sees his ticket into the playoffs in his final season of Cup Series competition as we're drag racing with Chastain into turn number 1. Now we get onto the apron, we slide, we spin in front of traffic, we collect the 60. It's a multi-car incident, and the caution is out. NASCAR throws the caution, and Joey Logano is going to be credited with the win in Pocono. Logano is going to hold off over Hamlin and Larson and gets to celebrate his first win of his final season of full-time NASCAR racing, and now puts himself inside the playoffs. You see the finishing order. Hamlin ends up P3 behind Larson there. Gibbs, Elliott in the top 5. Hosts of our Zane Smith with top 10s. Great races for them. Haley, Caruth, myself, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Even with the crash there, we still get a respectable result. Blaney dropped down to P19. And looking in the bottom half of the field, our teammate of Smith, Chandler Smith, down in 26th. Not been a good season for him as he's running out of time, I think, to perform now. And of course, Kyle Weatherman, Christopher Bell, and Connor Zilish all with DNFs. Looking at the bracket tournament before anything else, Larson's out. Logano, he was going head-to-head with Logano, who wins, and Pocono and gets in. We beat Bubba Wallace. Elliott advances. Chastain, Busher, they all advance. Kozlowski, Gibbs, and Kyle Busch all advance. Now, looking at the playoffs, of course, Logano gets himself into the playoffs, and that is going to make things really interesting. Now, Tyler Reddick, of course, scoring no points because of being out with injury. Shane Van Gisbergen moves forward. Bubba Wallace, he moves forward. Those are the last guys in, as things really are going to be interesting. Reddick's going to have to find a way to win once he comes back, I'm sure. In the regular season standings, we've dropped down. Elliott overtakes us by 2 points for second as we continue to fumble as the regular season carries on. Larson at the top of the board. Next episode, we head to Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.